Hi, good afternoon. We're back with a Monday update for In Leo. Um, we're going to be talking today about positioning Leo as a AI platform rather than a social media platform. So we're just going to get right to it. Tash, do you want to get us started off?
Well, I don't know what you want to know. There's a lot of things
I
to.
mean, so how can we, like, what does Leo really need to become an AI platform? I mean, what should people be doing?
Well, it needs AI, and I mean we all know Leo AI is being trained. That we've been told, and I have no idea how long it'll take to train the models. I am sure they're not using the same compute as XAI or Meta or Google. So obviously, the training is likely going to take a little longer for the same amount of data than what the big guys would do because they're using large amounts of compute. But the big key with this, and where it really all stems from, is the fact that from an ownership perspective, social media is not the destination. Social media is not even the product. Social media is simply the mechanism for AI. And what do I mean by that? Well, first off, social media gathers data from the users who submit it willingly each day, whether it's YouTube, whether it's X, whether it's Meta. People go on there and submit photos and videos and all kinds of stuff. And that's ultimately fed into the algorithms and the compute to train the AI models. Now, the AI models, what they spit out is ultimately going to be used to provide services to on the social media platform. And we see a little bit of that with X having Grok integrated in and people, I guess, X Blue or whatever the hell they call it, they're able to access Grok, use it as a chatbot, use it, as an image generator, use it for whatever the heck Grok can do at this point. And I don't know enough about Grok with the K, not Grok with the Q. Elon's Grok is with the K. I don't know enough about it to know what the features are, and I don't do enough on Twitter to even know what it's integrated with. But the point being is in the future, you are going to see AI incorporated into all of these platforms. And Leo, being Web3, needs to do the same thing. So that's the first premise of this whole idea of trying to make Leo a social media platform is a losing proposition. First off, you're not going to take from the major platforms. The second thing is you are not going to survive. I mean, you can survive, but you're not going to thrive just offering social media services. Nobody gives a shit, honestly. It's like, why did people not join Threads? Well, because they have Twitter. Why are they going to leave Twitter? Most people don't give a crap about their data, obviously, because they keep giving it to Twitter. Even people on Hive keep giving it to Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So that's the first thing is you need to differentiate yourself. And this isn't using Leo as an AI platform as some bullshit marketing pitch. You have to have the AI. You have to develop the AI. You have to be committed to the AI. And when you use the term positioning, when I was when I was involved with marketing projects, and I actually had a number of fights with the owner of the company, and he was trying to build a $25 million company, him and his partner, and he ended up selling for 6 or 8 million. So I did okay, but they fell well short. And another way of phrasing that term is everything is marketing, and that gets kind of misinterpreted because it's not only your marketing, it's not only your branding, it's everything you do applies to that. And so what I was saying is how you paint your vehicles is in line with what I'm talking about. How the drivers dress is in line with that. How your salespeople behave is in line with that. How your website looks is in line with that. All of this is tied to it. The type of people you hire is tied to this. The type of products you offer is tied to this. And it's more than branding, it's more than all of that, because that's an outside perception. This is actually what you are pushed outward. And if you're going to operate in a Web3 world, Web3 is not just tokenization, it's not just crypto, it's AI. That's the next generation internet. Do not believe for a second there will not be AI agents running through all of these platforms. There will be. And so, what are you focusing upon? And the same holds true not only for the people behind these projects, the same holds true for the users. I've said all along, be an owner. You have Leo, you are an owner. You need to be the owner of an AI platform. Well, to do that, ChatGPT started in 2015. GPT-3 came out at the end of 2022. That's 7 years. They didn't simply crank up GPT-1 or zero point 0.5 or whatever their first iteration was, which wasn't public, as far as I know, wasn't widely released. Why? Because they had to go and collect data. They had to amass data. Now, we know how they did it. They went out and scraped everything. But with Leo, we have the ability to fill the database. And I even went to Venice, which was started by the founder of Shapeshift, and I typed in, what is the Leo token on the Hive blockchain? And it gave me an answer. I even posted that as a thread a little while ago. And it shows this stuff is being trained on what we create. And the difference is with Leo AI, not only is it trained on blog posts, which are indexed, it's also trained on threads. And so you can add stuff to threads that will be in Leo AI that will not be in other models. It won't be in Grok. It won't be in Quad. It won't be in these because they're not indexing them. So they're not. Odds are they're not scraping the AI blockchain per se. They're going after index stuff and scraping that, which is fine. But Leo actually pulls from the Hive blockchain, and so this is where I think we have to have a complete change of mindset because looking at the world the way we did before is just foolish. It's not the same world. And if you don't think AI is going into everything, you're a moron. I mean, honestly, I can't be any more blunt.
All I have to do is open up YouTube and see all the videos with the tools and all the new, free or not. There's a new one almost every day, or a new, and a lot of them like do the same thing, video editing or whatever. But
Uh-huh.
there's almost a new one every day.
Yeah, well, we had Strawberry released by OpenAI this weekend. And there's two things that are important about this, from what I could gather. Now, I don't use these models when they come out and do the testings. And quite frankly, I don't even give a crap about the benchmarks. And they always talk about, oh, well, this one's in the lead with this benchmark. Who gives a crap? I watch the people who use them and watch their feedback because they'll look for different things and they'll tell you what it's good for, what it's not good for, because not everything's going to be good for everything. But anyway, Strawberry was touted. and again, this is OpenAI, it's touted as um, having the ability to reason. And in the last few days, I've watched a number of videos and come across people who talked about other people. You know, they may be short tweets or whatever. And these are people experts in their field, and they tested out strawberry. And not in every field, grant you, but in some fields, they are saying strawberry is at the level of an average graduate student in that field. So you're talking about pretty advanced in that field. You're more advanced than almost everybody because, I mean, hell, how many people even go to graduate school in any given field, let alone, even know about that field?
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about, well, what's the average um, person in graduate school? What's their level of in astrophysics? Well, it doesn't matter because they eclipse 99.99%. I don't know crap about astrophysics in graduate school or not. I'm one of the 99.99% that, you know, even if the computer can spell astrophysics properly 10 times out of 10, it probably tops me. Um, so you have a very powerful model now that was just released. And bet your ass within 6 months, everybody else will be pretty much up to where ChatGPT is. But here's the other interesting point. ChatGPT 5.0 is going to use Strawberry to train it on the synthetic data that Strawberry creates. So ChatGPT 5 is going to be mostly trained on synthetic data. That's huge. And what synthetic data is that's data that the computer creates. So if you go to a chatbot and you enter in a prompt, what comes out is synthetic data. Whether it's a picture, whether it's a video, whether it's text, that's synthetic data. It was created by the computer. And as we know, all of this is new. And if you don't believe me, just go to an image generator and type in, give me an image of the sunset and over the ocean. And it'll give you a brand new picture. It'll depend on the model. It'll give you 2 pictures or 4 pictures or whatever. Those are created. They've never been created before. They're not just pulling up stuff off the internet. They're creating it. And that's huge. So now you have GPT-5 that is going to be trained a great deal on synthetic data. What the hell does this have to do with Leo AI? Well, this is an exponential. This is how it can get out of hand very quickly. Because you think about it, the more people using Strawberry, the more synthetic data it's going to spit out because the more prompts it'll get. And of course, ChatGPT 4.0 or whatever people are using, that has, hundreds of millions of users or whatever it is. And that's generate more data because they're spitting out prompts people are prompting it throughout the day and it's spitting out data. Well, that's all resident on OpenAI's servers. It's actually resident on Microsoft because that's who they're partnered with. But the point being, it's not out in the public. Well, when you go into Leo, and if you take some of the synthetic data, whether it's and I've talked about this before, go into Claude, go into Grok, go into whatever the hell you use, ChatGPT, and whatever result you get, hit the little copy icon and post it on Threads and say, this is from Venice, or this is from Grok, or this is from Gemini or ChatGPT 4, and post it. And that way it's on the blockchain. It's now public data because it's not only in Google or Microsoft or Amazon or Anthropic's database. It's out there. It's on the Hive database. Well, if it's a thread, whatever that is going to go into Leo AI. That's the first thing. The second thing with it is if we humans interact with it, correct it, give it feedback, talk to it, say, okay, well, I don't really see this point, but I look at it in this way, whatever it is. Now, suddenly, you are taking human and synthetic data and merging it and combining it, because you have one thread which is the synthetic data, and then you have a comment underneath that just answers it. That doesn't necessarily answer, but agrees, disagrees,
Uh-huh.
adds some feedback, says, well, that's true, but also this is important, and here's why. And that is enormous. That's a tremendous, tremendous benefit. And so when people ask about, and we did this on Friday, um, we did a Lion's Den about this, and you see people doing threads. It's like they're rethreading. Well, okay, that's something, but it really doesn't do much. Rethreads are meant to convey information. Well,
Right.
what the fuck are you rethreading? A video? Who cares? Most people are not going to. Let's be honest. You put an hour-long YouTube video on Threads, nobody's going to watch it. I'm
No,
not.
I know that for a fact.
Nobody's going to watch it. Now, if you put up a 10-minute video, they might, but they might not. But here's the thing: if you take a 10-minute video on YouTube, you post it, and you go into YouTube, and you go down and you open up the transcript and you copy the transcript and throw it through an LLM and say, give me a summary in an article form of this transcript, and put the transcript, like on Claude, you can do that. I mean, that's got a big token window. So you put that in Claude, then you copy the transcript underneath the video, because Leo AI doesn't read video, but it reads the transcript, or the summary. You don't want to put the transcript on there; it gets too long. But you put the summary on there, and it may take breaking it up and putting it on 4 or 5 threads, whatever. But now at least that's in the database. So now Leo AI can at least see that and understand it. That's the type of stuff that, if you are going to put up a video, now a short is a different story, and I'm not talking a short through Leo. I'm talking if you get a YouTube short and it's something of a cat chasing its tail. Okay, you put that up. That's cute. That's funny. People watch that. People press play. Okay, that's cool. Or if you put in the motivation threadcast, let's say you put up an 8 or 10-minute or 12-minute motivational video. Okay, if people are in that threadcast, they may be interested in that. So that's understood, right? But if you just throw it on the main site, who cares? And so doing rethreading for just the sake of rethreading doesn't do much, especially if it's an image, especially if it's a video that is not even seen by Leo AI. So if you are going to do anything with video, get a transcript. Again, this is different than if you're submitting a short through Leo to Leo Shorts. That's a little different. That's completely separate. And from what a conversation I had on Threads with Cal, he actually answered one of my threads, and he said the bot's coming. Where I think they are going to set it up where the Leo Shorts will have the ability. People have the ability to get the transcript off their shorts and post that as a comment. Well,
Wow.
if you do that, and I've been doing that because I got a special script that might possibly create it, and so I've been doing that on my shorts, and this is why Cal bought into it, because Cal's been watching the back end of Leo AI training, and he's noticing that I'm putting up so many shorts with the transcripts about specific topics that it's influencing Leo AI. He can see it being trained on the back end. And that's my point, is we have the ability to train this shit, but you have to look at it in that regard. And I'm thinking maybe this Friday, unless I hear something on the AMA tomorrow, this Friday will be the Lions Den will be about tokens, and not cryptocurrency tokens. We're going to talk about tokens as they originally are and as it applies to AI. And I put up Bradley Arrow and I had some conversations yesterday, because I kept posting, how many tokens are you creating a day on Leo? And he didn't understand what I was saying until
No, I didn't understand that either.
did you catch the conversation, or do you not understand?
I didn't understand what you meant by how many tokens you're putting up on.
Well, token is a unit of measure, and token is
Okay.
what computer science utilizes as its most basic form of data, if you will. Now, a token can be, there's different types of tokens, they can mean different things. A token could be a word, a token could be a character like a dollar sign, the and sign, whatever. A token could be a space. Actually, that could be a token. So there's different tokens are a unit of measure, a data unit of data measure. And when you write, let's say, an article, like I wrote an article and I copied the article and I fed it through OpenAI's tokenizer. And it came back and it said that this was like 1,070 tokens. Okay. To give you an example, um, damn, I should have looked it up. I forget what it was, but I think Llama 3.1 was trained on like 16 trillion tokens.
Wow.
So the idea is this is a quantifier for how big the database is getting. So what are you putting on Leo? And again, it's a token. So for Leo AI's purposes, there is no value in an image. There is no value in a video. So that's why Leo Shorts, the ability to put the transcript, provides instant capability to Leo AI. Now, down the road, as the price of compute falls and the price of training models falls, it may be cost effective for Leo to train on multimodal. So we may be able to then start training it on the photos in the image server, training on videos, such it directly as what's in Leo Shorts. You're probably never going to be able to train on YouTube videos because those aren't on Leo. You're just embedding it, and the problem is uh, YouTube has that against its terms of service. But if we take a video and we send it through, get a summary from a chatbot, and then we post the summary, well, now we're adding value to the database and you're adding tokens. So you take a summary and you put it in 3 or 4 different threads underneath a video, and you may have just added 500 more tokens to the database. And the bigger the amount of tokens, the more there is to train. My guess is the next generation language models, they're going to have to start training them on at least over 100 trillion, if not 200 trillion tokens.
That number's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it gets huge. It gets huge. But if you just keep it in relative scale, if you say, okay, Llama 3.1 was 16 trillion, so you're looking at probably a 10x for Llama 4 or Llama 5. And this is why they need that much more compute, because they're getting better with the token for the amount of compute required per token is going down. But the size of the token numbers, the models go up. And my point being is Meta has these tokens. Meta has that amount of data. So does Google. We don't have that in open databases. So this is why it's incumbent upon us to start to fill the database so that Leo AI gets trained on this, and Cal and the AI and the development team have to start to work on developing services that are AI services. So I've said this in posts, I've said this in threads. They need to add editing tools, AI driven editing tools. They need to add obviously a chatbot. They need to add a copilot. Now, obviously, a lot of this stuff is in the works and it's on their mind, and Cal's talked about it. It's just not here yet. But we just have to keep moving down the path, and text to video when that becomes cost effective and when that becomes a viable product. And we have to integrate whatever we can in terms of open source stuff out there that can be incorporated so that we become a true AI platform and we democratize AI. And a lot of this is going to be based upon what the hell we're putting on the database, in the database.
One of the things she talked about on that podcast I was listening to is when they go to a business and try and sell them like a piece of software, a lot of the buyers, they'll stick with what they already have. Well, like people sticking with Facebook and people sticking with Twitter because what is Leo doing differently from Facebook and Twitter?
Exactly. I mean, Leo can't compete with Facebook or Twitter. I mean, if you think that, you're full. Hive can't compete with it. This is the absurdity of the marketing plan. It, it's total foolishness. You are not going to beat Twitter. You are not going to beat Facebook. You are not going to beat YouTube. Now, Rumble came along with a lot of VC money, and Rumble made a decent headway. But even Rumble, with 50 or 60 million monthly users, that's a drop in the bucket to YouTube's 1.5 or 1.7 billion monthly users. So even Rumble, which is a reasonably successful project application, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket, and so we have to realize that. And this is where the ownership mindset comes in, where screw trying to get 150 million people. You don't need that. And screw trying to get uh, everything for everybody in the social media world. You don't need that. You need to develop the AI tools. Now, obviously, having these social media features are important. I mean, you can't overlook that. If you're using that as an avenue, a pathway to get data, obviously you need the ability to create shorts, which we now have. Subscription service could be something useful down the road as your user base changes and gets into people who are used to that. So these are important features to add. I don't dismiss them and say don't do anything with social media. That's obviously important. You want the social media activity because that's going to tie into ad revenue and all this other stuff. But you need to understand, if you're creating and positioning as an AI platform, everything you do ties into AI and is meant to complement that. And quite frankly, that's the world we're in anyway. Everything is data. It doesn't even matter what you're involved with, it comes down to data. And if you're collecting data and you're not doing something with AI, you're just pissing it out the window. And this is where the idea of going back to the tokens comes in. Everybody wants to come onto Hive or come into Leo and scalp some tokens. Well, fuck that. How many tokens are you going to create? And I don't mean go into Hive Engine and create your own token. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the true sense of the token word. Because if data is the new oil, which that's kind of a little bit misleading, but it's good enough for general assumption. If data is the new oil, why the hell are you creating a cup when you can create a barrel? If it's oil, well, shit, I want as much oil as I can get. you know, and it's like if you gave somebody that proposition, say, well, you could have this oil well with, you know, 20 barrels of oil, or this oil well with 1 million barrels of oil. What do you want? Well, I want the million oil. Well, it's the same damn thing here because we know Leo AI is being trained on this. So that's why I've said all along, get articles on here, get nuanced topics on here, get stuff you're knowledgeable about on here. Make your business whatever it is, but focus it on there and get it involved in text. And if you want to build a brand around it by doing shorts around whatever it is, fine, wonderful, knock yourself out. That's not a bad idea. But the point being, Leo's value is going to come from Leo AI. If we think it's going to come from social media, I think we're nuts. I think people are nuts, and I think that's going to be realized a year, 2 years down the road. And I'll tell you how far behind everybody is. I didn't listen to every presentation on HighFest, so I state that. But the only one I heard mention AI was Cal. Nobody else mentioned.
Wow.
Kidding me? Are you kidding me? In this world, in this day and age, and yes, I focus upon this stuff. But let me tell you what generative AI is for those who don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really positive what it is myself.
It doesn't matter what it is from a technical standpoint. What it is this: forget the internet. The internet and generative AI have nothing in common. Do not try to compare them. Generative AI is a new form of computing, it's a new computer. It's a new piece of software. It's a new form of computing. We had the personal computer in the 1980s and the 1990s. That changed everything, Windows primarily. But the personal computer in the 1980s was worthless for the most part. What could you do with it? Play some games, keep household budgets or recipes. That's about it. The personal computer became valuable when computers could talk to other computers, when the internet came around. That's what made personal computers. And understand, personal computers have changed. They're no longer a PC. They became laptops. Now they're phones. And who knows what they're going to be in 5 years. But the idea of computers has become more valuable, personal computers, because of the internet, because they're connected. AI, generative AI, is a new form of computing, just like Windows, just like the personal computer. Generative AI is not going to be as valuable until you connect them like the computer, like the internet. So, how does that happen? That's called AI agent. When Mike possibly creates an AI agent, which he has done, that's basically the script that I'm using. It's an AI agent. Simple. He created it. He created it using ChatGPT. It's an agent. It automates some type of process. Okay, this has some value to me, but relative to the rest of the world, it's nothing. It's not worth anything because it's an agent that's floating off on its own. But what happens when you get these AI agents connected? And then they start automating different tasks where I have an AI agent that can take my schedule and see that next week I'm going to be in, I don't know, pick a city, New Orleans. And it can see I'm going to be there from Tuesday through Friday. And now my agent can go out, book the airline tickets, book the hotel rooms, book the rental car, pay for it, handle it all. And it does that by tying into different AI agents that are out there that have hotel rates and can actually navigate and automatically place a reservation on the different hotels. Then it can do it with the rental cars and all that. And it handles it without me doing anything. That's where we're going. That's where the value really skyrockets. So now consider just Leo. If you have a bunch of these AI agents that are created on Leo and people start interconnecting them together on a small scale, but that really enhances what can be done. And it's like Hal was saying, expanding this bot that might possibly created this agent effectively, and allowing it so that anyone on Leo, when they create a short, can have a transcript automatically created out of their um, video and
Mhm.
posted as a comment. That's taking it to the next level. And this is what we need is the ability to do this. Now what happens if I get a transcript of a YouTube video I post, a YouTube video about, I don't know, the latest development on Chat GPT. So I post that video in the technology blog. And because of that, what if there's an agent on Leo that allows me, or if I can go to the Leo chatbot and I can take the transcript of that video from Google and get a summary out of Leo AI and post that. Because now all of a sudden I just increased the amount of data that much more because I created the summary within Leo. Instead
Wow.
of creating the summary in ChatGPT, ChatGPT or Claude or whoever, and giving them the data. All of a sudden now the data is in Leo. Now, if I post it on Threads, that means it's on the high blockchain because, and I don't think they'll do this. In fact, I'm pretty sure they won't do this. Where every result is placed on the blockchain. I think you will have the option to post it to the blockchain, but if you want to if you don't want to post it, you won't have to. That means that's in Leo's database, in the server that runs Leo AI, but it's not democratized data because it's not on the blockchain. But we can easily take that data, and I think Cal's going to put a button, post to threads, and then you can post it to threads. You can post that conversation as a thread. These are things that help to build the database and increase the token count significantly.
So basically, what you're saying is when you're creating tokens, you're adding to the value rather than coming here and expecting whatever upvotes and constantly pulling away from.
Yeah, you're looking at building the value. Yeah, and maybe using token is the wrong word. I think this is a way to really frame it, but maybe I'm mistaken. Easy way, simplicity term. Think of token as a word. How many words a day are you adding to Leo? Add 50,000 words a day. Well, you write an article, it's 1,000 words. Okay, there's 1,000 words. What else are you doing? How many words, and it's not exact. I mean, it'll vary and stuff like that, but the point being is, if you just look at it in terms of words, how many comments are how many words are in your comment. And I'm not saying just like type the same word 45 times, oh hey, it's 45 words. That's being foolish. But the point being is, each time I do a transcript of one of my shorts, it's like 120 130 tokens. And, okay, that's far short of 16 trillion that Meta has, but that's 120, 130. And if I do, 10 videos a day, which I'm doing at least 10 shorts a day, uh, that's, 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 tokens just from that, not including the stuff I write and the stuff I post. And, I could easily, a lot of times with a, a summary, the summary alone will be 1,000 tokens to a video because it's a 15 or 18-minute video. I go into Claude with the transcript and I get a summary out of Claude. It's 1,000 token transcript or 700 token transcript. And then I just have to copy, paste, and, cut,
um,
cut part of it off and then break it up into, 5 or 6 different threads, which that helps the thread count. But at least now that data is on Leo. And this will help to feed it in and it learn. And the thing with threads is Leo AI is running real time. So every time a thread is posted, it takes that data and updates. So you have the main model training, but then it'll take the data and update from any new thread, which that's not going to go, I don't think, into the meta. That's not going to go into some of these other chatbots because of the simple fact, I believe, now I might be mistaken, maybe they scrape the high blockchains, but I don't think they do that. I think what they do is they go and they take indexed articles and they'll scrape, from Peak D or from High Blog or anything they can scrape from that's indexed. And those are indexed by Google. But if you take a thread, threads are not indexed by
are
Google.
tweets indexed?
Not usually.
No, I didn't. Okay.
Not usually. That's why when you do a search for something, you don't get a bunch of tweets about it. But Elon, XAI, they get all those tweets. They get all that data. And with 500 million tweets a day, roughly, and it may be higher now, that's a stat that I read, 6, 8 months ago. How many tokens is that a day? And of course, he added long form content. So now you can, if you're a X premium member, you can go to whatever, to 1,000 characters or whatever it is. And so now people are putting in more than they were before. Some people, not everybody, but some people. And of course, X is multimodal. So if you throw up a photo on X, The XAI is capturing that and using that to train. And if you put up a video, I think you can load videos in X. I don't know. I've never tried it. But if you do that, that's also being trained. So, these are all things that if you look around what's going on and you look at what these major systems are doing, we want to do that on on a smaller scale, and we want to do it very specific. So, Barsky's been writing in stuff about beekeeping. Now, I imagine these models probably have a pretty good database of beekeeping because that's, I mean, it's not the most popular hobby in the world, but it's not, something that none of us have ever heard of. And,
Right.
but, he's putting stuff in threads, and if he's writing some unique stuff, then he actually is going to be training Leo AI in a way on beekeeping that isn't necessarily out there. And these are the type of things that we can do that, if it's not readily out there, which of course Leo subscriptions isn't out there. Leo AI probably isn't out there too much. These are things that, we keep feeding in. It's going to have an impact. So,
So when you talk about training the AI, you're talking about adding to the database this information that eventually when the AI goes, it'll, when people search for something on Leo, the Leo AI, it's going to have all this information that people put onto Leo. So they're taking the information or the articles or whatever and putting it into the Leo AI. Is that
well, it's Leo AI is being trained on the Hive blockchain. So it's not only in Leo, it's anything that's posted through any front end onto Hive, which is tags, is going into Leo AI. Now, the base model that is being used is Llama 3.1. So anything that Llama 3.1 has is going to be in Leo AI because Llama 3.1 is open source and that's what is being utilized. But the and that's the large language model. The small language model, Leo AI, is then also going is being trained on um, anything on the Hive blockchain. So if you ask Meta AI, what of my posts got the most upvotes, and you put in your username, it won't be able to tell you. You ask Leo AI that, it'll be able to tell you. Because don't forget, also on the blockchain is all our voting, all of that stuff. It's all in the blockchain. So anything that's done on high that is, whatever, one of the 8 or 9 base operations, you know, claiming account tokens, creating an account, sending a payment, um, blog post, comment, upvote, downvote, governance vote for a witness, for a proposal, all these different things that are registered on the Hive blockchain. That's in Leo AI. So you'll be able to ask uh, about it, and you should be able to get real time information as it updates. So that's where the difference comes in that you have two different sections, if you will. You have the large language model, which is the meta stuff. And to its credit, Meta is updated because if you go to some of these models, they'll say, well, as of my last update in April 2024, like Claude or something like that.
mm,
Meta doesn't have that because Meta is constantly updating too because people are all over Facebook and Instagram feeding stuff in all day long. So if you ask Claude, what was the score of the Cowboy game last night? It won't be able to tell you. If you ask Meta that, it'll be able to tell you because as long as somebody posted the score of the Cowboy game somewhere on in the Meta ecosystem. It's the same thing with Leo. The stuff we post on there It's now in the Leo training, especially on threads. A blog post eventually will be indexed by Google, but threads will not be. But now the threads are fed in. And so now Leo AI has something that Meta does not. And if we take these chats that we have in any of these, and we take that data from Grok, we take that data from Claude, we take that data from Meta AI, we take that data from whomever, and we take and copy that and paste it into threads. Now it's democratized. Now it's not only on Anthropic servers who they're not sharing with anybody. Now it's part of the Hive blockchain. It's right there. So, you know, anybody can utilize it. It's public, it's permissionless, and it's democratization.
That's a cool. That's a cool thought. I like that.
Well, we need to democratize AI. Here's the deal. I brought up Strawberry for a particular reason. This is how powerful this shit's getting. And if you think it's a great future for humanity to have big tech controlling everything with as powerful as this technology is becoming, then fine. Keep feeding big tech more shit. Keep feeding them more data. Good for you. But if that idea is horrific to you, as horrific as I think it is, then we need to democratize AI, which means, in my view, one of the key features can be blockchain, a permissionless network, and that's what Hive is, where you put text. Now, we have to democratize the whole AI stack, but data is one thing. Democratize the data. Get the data so it is out there and permissionless, and get as much of it as we can. Of course, then we need to have models tied to blockchain. We need to have AI agents created and tied to blockchain, all that other stuff. But one of the key components is to at least get the data out there and as much of it as we can. And in this world, they quantify the data with tokens. Again, for our purposes, just if you want to, how many words are you adding a day? Add 10,000 words to the database a day. You know, that gets you going in the right direction because, and I know it's possible because there was a time that Asher used to pull the data with Hive SQL. I was doing 100,000 words a day in just comments. So you can put up some big numbers. I can put up some big numbers. And, you know, I don't know how it is in threads because I don't, and right now because I don't run everything through, obviously, and keep it running total. That'd be foolish. But the point being is if people are looking at adding a lot more content, it increases the value of Leo because ultimately Leo AI will be more valuable. And getting back to the tokenomics, crypto tokenomics now, not computer science tokenomics, let's just say, getting back to the Leo tokenomics, Leo Premium, the number of subscribers to Leo Premium is abysmal. And maybe it's not bad for the percentage of users, I don't know. But if you have Leo AI for 10 HBD a month, in addition to all the other stuff we get now, and you keep building more AI in for the same 10 HBD, how many more people are going to subscribe and utilize that and that feed into the tokenomics? And oh, by the way, now it creates some more data, more threads, more all this, more all that. And then you start to get more features. So then all of a sudden you build in editing. You bring in some AI editing tools and AI this and AI that. All of a sudden you start to bring in text to video. And maybe you get to the point where you get enough AI tools where it's okay for basic 10 HBD, you get this. If you want these other features, it'll cost you another 5 or 10 HBD on top. So you end up with a two-tiered payment system. Well, three-tiered system. You have free, you have premium, and you maybe have Leo Premium Plus. So what? So maybe Leo Premium Plus gives you video capability. In fact, maybe I should write a blog post about that. But these are things that you start to look at, and this incorporates and enhances the tokenomics, and this makes it all that much more valuable. And again, if you want $100 million market cap without just a stupid pump, but a value, I don't think you're getting there with social media. I really don't. I mean, granted, a $100 million entity in the internet world is nothing. You're not even on the radar. But the point being, we do not have the businesses, we do not have the entrepreneurs to take these tools and build like a media company for the most part. We don't have it. People who are on Leo do not see it. People are not don't. They don't get it. They are not Web3 entrepreneurs. Sad to say, but that's just the reality. They are users. That's it. They're not even owners. Very, very small percentage. So what we have to do is we have to do something that attracts users, and AI is it.
So, like, when I copy and paste all those quotes, those are going into the database.
If the quote is text, yes. If you're just putting an image that you found on the internet with the quote on an image, no, it's
No, I've
not.
been focusing on doing the text ones because
Yeah, the text goes into the database. Now, odds are that text is already in the database, um, because Meta is obviously scraping that, you would think. But again, it depends on the quotes, depends on where you get them from, it depends on what you're doing. Uh, if you have some obscure quotes that you found, there's all different types of things. But, if you're on YouTube, like for example, here's how you can maximize the input in the motivation threadcast. You take a video, and I haven't found, you can't do it with a short off YouTube because they don't have transcripts of that. But you can do it on a motivation video on YouTube. And you just search motivation success, you get 1,000 videos coming up. So you choose one, and choose one that's like 5 or 8 minutes. Very short video, relatively speaking. You take that video, you post it, you open up the transcript, you go to whatever chatbot you want to use. You can use any of them if it's a 5 or 8 minute video. If you get a 20-minute video, you got to go with Claude because the rest of them don't have a big enough window. But you could go to Meta, you could go to Claude or whatever, and you just say what I said before. Give me a summary in article form of this transcript, and then you just hit paste with the transcript, and then you hit submit, and it'll draw it up. And then you just take that. I actually run it through Leo Linker to give it more context. So then the AI understands the context a little better, because don't forget, you have data, you have information, and you have knowledge. Well, these Leo AI is going to have zero knowledge without context. Information without context doesn't mean anything. Here's the information for. What does that mean to you? How about this? 4%. What does that mean to you? Nothing. You need context. Well, you need to know what 4% is versus 1% versus 6% or 10%. Then you need to know, what the hell am I talking about? Am I talking about 4% APR? Okay. Well, 4% APR is a pretty decent APR because you have context of what APRs are. Like 80% APR isn't normal. Yeah, that's not normal. Most people don't get 80% return on their money. So that's where you have knowledge because of the context. And that's what I do is I take these transcripts, I feed them through Leo Linker to try to give them a little bit more context, because now it's pulling that information in, and then I post it in underneath that YouTube video. And you only have to do this a few times a day to really make a significant impact. But now you just added, I don't know what, 1,700 tokens to the database. You added stuff that has context. You added a whole bunch of threads. And now if somebody asks, And the point being, Lisa, is you want to be able to go to Leo AI and say, what do I need to do to succeed in athletics? What do I need to do to succeed in my business? What do I need to do to succeed in sculpting my body? What do I need to do to succeed as a content creator? Whatever it is, the more we put in and the more transcripts and stuff you put in, then the ability to go and ask it and give you an answer to say, okay, this is what you need to do. Put down the donuts. Leave the soda pop alone. Move your ass. Literally. Go walking. Go to the gym. Go swimming. Go biking. I mean, whatever it is,
Right,
these
right.
things that you want it to spit out. So it, it's and then you get the hallucinations where this is when the AI, which answers in absolute certainty like it's an expert, even when it's making shit up, which that's what it's doing anyway because it's trying to guess the next token. And again, if we use that mental imagery of a token is a word, it's trying to guess the next word. And in many ways, strawberry may be changing it, but in many ways, you're just looking at glorified autofill. That's what you're looking at. And it trains on enough data that it's able to fill pretty accurately. But you get some areas where it kind of goes off into never land. Those are called hallucinations. And they're being reduced every generation simply through the more data and the more training. So it's able to reduce down the hallucinations. But again, more data. It all comes down to that. Why the hell are you creating a cup of oil or a thimble of oil when you can create a damn barrel? And if you create a barrel every day, at the end of the year, we got 365 barrels instead of 365 thimbles of oil. Collectively, we keep doing that. What does that add up to? And that's the point. That's where it becomes so important. And Threads is really very unique in the sense that Leo AI is reading the thread. I don't believe Meta is. Meta went through and scraped X's data like everybody did before Elon locked it down. Everybody scraped Reddit's data before they locked it down. Anybody can scrape the data from the high blockchain, but I doubt anybody's doing that at this point because it's just not big enough. But you start to get a bigger database and people will be scraping it. That hell, they don't even need to scrape it. They can set up an open API and just pull the information down themselves. Um, so these are things that they can do that we can do to democratize AI. It all starts with the data. And if Reddit is selling their data for $60 million to Google, how the hell is a startup going to do that? How is a researcher going to do that? Because what's happening is the 25% of the top 2,000 sites, they're locked down from the robot.txt crawler, which that's probably the most popular crawlers, and there's others. And it's a crawler that OpenAI uses, and which is getting OpenAI sued left and right. But these sites used to allow that because that's what Google uses. And Google sends out their crawler, and everybody want to be indexed, so your website could be found in the search engine. Well, now OpenAI and all these other companies took that and started sending them out to scrape the data, but not for search engine purposes. So now these companies are locking it down. And 25% of the top 2,000 sites I read, which is 500, block robot.txt. So how do you get it? You got to pay them. That's not democratized. That's not democratized AI, because now only OpenAI at this point, they do another funding round. The next funding round is going to be at $150 billion. Well, now they get billions and billions of dollars so they can go buy some data. They can go cut multi-million dollar data deals. Can a startup? Can a researcher at a college? Researchers used to use the robot.txt too. If you're if you're doing an economic study or if you're doing a chemistry study, you want to go and research these different research papers and stuff that's out there. So they used to send the bot out to pull the information. Now it's being blocked. Well, what's some professor at some university going to do, or some research team at some university going to do? They don't have the money to go buy the data. That's
No,
why we need to democratize it. That's why we need to put it out there. That's why we need to get whatever we can. Even if you're just taking and putting a news article, and even if you just use the fair use, which fair use is usually the title and maybe a paragraph or two, and then you put a link back to the original article. Fine, do that. You get a paragraph or two. If enough of us keep doing that, the information's going to be there.
yeah, because we don't want the big corporations to have sole access, you know, and then pay through the nose to get the information.
Yeah, but and it's not only have to pay because there's not big companies that I think the LLMs are going to be commodities, but what they build on top of it is going to be where they monetize and you're going to be charged and whatnot. But it's more important than that. It's We've seen the ability to censor. We've seen the ability to push what they want to push. We've seen the ability of Google to hide what they want to hide. The, I, I did I did I went to Venice, which is, as I said, an LLM or a model based on or from the guy who started Shapeshift, and it's trained on blockchain information. It's supposedly blockchain chain, and I asked him about a token window, and then I went to Grok with the Q and asked that. And wouldn't you know, Venice, it gave me a catered answer. It gave me the same answer as Grok, but then it talked about the MOR token, which MOR token is used to get access to the blockchain that this Venice is tied to. I forget what blockchain it is, but it's the Morpheus token, and it started talking about the token. Okay, well, they 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 the algorithms were structured in such a way that it gave them anything that has to do with token. It obviously is going to mention their token.
Wow.
Grok obviously didn't because Grok didn't care. So that's the other thing is, and that's kind of something stupid. Who really cares? It's actually useful information. But the point being, you don't think Google's going to do it? You don't think Meta's going to do it? You don't think OpenAI is going to do it? Bullshit. They're all going to be doing it, and they're going to cater it in a way to whatever they want. And this is a way around it because now you get the data out there, you get the blockchain agents going, you get all this other stuff. It's democratized. That's how important Leo AI is because I don't see a lot of this. I don't see any of it online. Okay, I don't get out that much, but again, in the projects I heard on the presentations at HighFest, nobody mentioned AI other than Cal.
Wow.
And they're all still trying to build social media networks and other things. And it's like, who cares? If it's out there, who cares? Not that they're not important to have, not that it's not important to have, whatever. But that can't, as we discussed about positioning, that just has to be an adjunct and feed into what your core is. And your core, in my opinion, has to be AI. And so for Leo, it's Leo AI. And everything everybody does has to be, everybody being the community, has to be with that mindset. We are an AI platform. Yeah, you can go and chat about your breakfast. Yeah, you can go put up pictures and images. That's great. It's wonderful. We need engagement. But you know what we really need if we're an AI platform? We need data. We need tokens. And so, you know, yeah, you have to create stuff that people can engage with, but you also want stuff that feeds the database. So if you're putting up a quote, make sure you're putting up the text instead of the image. If you're putting up a video, make sure you somehow get something tied to the transcript, or at least write a damn summary yourself, or something like that. I don't know if you can do it. You might be able to go to Gemini, which is Google's. You might be able to put the URL of the video in there and say, "Give me a summary of this," and maybe Google will just give you a summary itself. I don't know. I'll have to try that, but Google has the transcript, so they could give a summary, but I don't know if they provide that feature. But again, I use Claude for that, and I'm limited to the amount I can do because I don't pay them, but it all feeds in. And when Cal said, he's watching the back end and I am influencing it just with the shorts I'm making. Everybody needs to take note. We have the ability to cater this stuff. We have the ability to feed it.
Wow. Well, we didn't get to any of the questions or any of the comments. I can look through a few of them and see.
Okay. Were people in there chatting or no?
Not a little bit, not a lot. Let's see. Well, some of this stuff, it's crucial that people understand how important this is. Do you think humanity's future is in the hands of big tech is an optimistic situation? That's what we were just discussing. It's not a good because we wouldn't be able to access it if they just had it.
Well, what you end up with is you end up with a siloed system where you have 6 or 8 companies in the West, and then their counterparts in China who are at the core of this, and that's the internet we have now. They're in the West. There's about 20 companies who control the internet. Everybody from Cloudflare to Amazon to PayPal to X, Meta, Google, Spotify. Go through a couple others, Netflix maybe. The handful of entities that have most of the traffic, and then you get into the infrastructure and stuff like that. That's what we have. Well, we have to change that, and we have to change that at every level. Yeah, Leo AI sees everyone. You know, Nifty. Yeah, move your ass.
And then premium Sunseeker premium will increase its value dramatically with Leo AI working, and
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Leo AI will really make premium a lot more appealing, and quite frankly, is then what should be marketed. Is forget any of this other stuff. Leo AI, market it, premium, $10, 10 HBD a month, market it and accept it, and then you can get 1,000 users.
that'd be kind of awesome. And Sunseeker also says AI can even help you shape your career. It will not substitute professionals, but rather help people head into a career and professionalize further. Leo AI could help people on Hive with more than simply writing posts if used at its full potential.
Yeah, well, we don't even know where. Listen,
On this, what you said about
we are at we're at Palm. For those who understand video games, we are at Palm. That's what AI is. We're not at high graphics. We are at Palm. That's the world of video games if we're equating it to AI. This is so early in what we're going to see, and that's why I was saying in some of the reviews I've seen of Strawberry, that was a basic breakthrough. And what Sunseeker said, I will disagree with. Don't fool yourself. Professionals are going to be replaced left and right by AI, and jobs are going to go away. This stuff is very, very powerful. And that's why we want it on the network that we own. We have a stake in, on the platforms that we have a stake in, where we have the ability to to enjoy the benefits and the fruits of what this generates. Because I mean, I put this out in threads. Elon bought X, Twitter, for $44 billion. And some people say he overpaid. He says he overpaid. He says, well, he should have had it for 20 billion. Whatever the number, okay?
Uh-huh.
Whatever the number, it doesn't matter. X has been around, or Twitter was around for 17, 18 years. 20 billion, 25 billion, 30 billion, 40 billion, whatever. Okay? OpenAI, the next funding round is going to be at a valuation of 150 billion. 150 billion for OpenAI, ChatGPT versus 20, 30 billion for X. Social media versus AI. And this is the next funding round. The one after that, if they have it, which I presume they will, with the way they're burning cash, it will probably be $250 billion or more. The next funding round after this upcoming one. That's how it is. Do not think for a second OpenAI will not be $1 trillion company, probably within a year or two.
So when you say funding round, this we're talking about angel investors or
Yeah, this is VC stuff. They're not a public company, so they can't go to capital markets to by issuing more shares into the marketplace, or go into the debt market. So what they have to do is they have to go through the VC realm, the private funding. And when I say private funding, I mean, who knows? Hedge funds could be buying this. I don't know who the hell's investing, but it's going to be some pretty big outfits to get that type of money. But that's what they're basically doing, and they it's called seed rounds, and they do seed funding. And so what they'll do is they'll say, okay, uh, we need $15 billion, and so if the valuation is $150 billion, they will get $15 billion coming in, and they will issue private shares. They'll give away 10% of the company. So that's how they do it, because the valuation $150 billion. If the valuation was only 75 billion, well, now they got to give away 20% of the company to get the same 15 billion. So that's why you have funding rounds, only what you need, hoping to grow the value of the company, because each time you're giving away less and less of the company in terms of the equity. That's how they handle that.
because
So
when you give away the company, you let go of the control.
well, that's why you keep giving away smaller and smaller slivers. And if the company's growing in value and you're raising money, you're giving away a smaller percentage. You just end up retaining control if you keep growing in value. If next time the valuation is 250 million and they need to raise 15 million, well, now you're down to, I don't know, whatever it is, 7.5% instead of 10%. So it makes it a lot less. So that's what they end up doing. And I'm not saying they may need 15 billion. I don't know what they're raising. Maybe it's only 5.
Right, right.
I have no idea. Um, but whatever it is, they're going to be giving away a piece. They're giving away equity. They're basically selling equity in the company. That's what it is. So, but I use that as a contrast between social media and X is probably number 3 behind Meta, Family, and YouTube, and then you have X. So the third largest social media company is 1/6 OpenAI.
Wow.
Think about that.
Data is the new oil.
Yeah, it's so we can create our own oil, and it's a little different, but we feed it in, and the better Leo AI is, when it goes live, the more people will be inclined to use it, which then creates more data, creates more Leo Premium members, and all that other good stuff.
And then this is from Tokenized. Do you guys know anything about when Leo AI will be released?
Nope. Cal even said, like, the last time he mentioned it in Threads, which was over the weekend or right after High Fest, he said it's in training. Didn't give any ETA. So
And then also from Tokenized Society, Cal mentioned some time ago that they were working on in Leo's own ad platform. Is that still the roadmap?
yeah, that was supposed to be out. He was hoping by the 15th, which was yesterday, but I guess maybe maybe that was interrupted by High Fest. I don't know. Cal was on the road. Um, that's AMA tomorrow.
Okay.
That's that to Cal. I'm sure Cal will mention it.
And then Sunseeker posted advertising moment in Leo Shorts contest first edition from Leo Grove. She read.
Yeah, well, it's an initiative for shorts. Get involved. Leo Growth is putting on something, and we need more shorts. And again, keep in mind, I guarantee you, there will come a day when Leo AI will be trained on video that we put in here. It will be trained on it because if you understand the cost of computing curve, at a certain point in time, it may be a year from now, maybe 18 months, it may be 2 years, but at a certain point, whatever's in video form, it will be cost effective for something like Leo AI to train multimodal instead of just text. So get them in there.
And then Nifty posted, forget SAAS, more like Leo AAS.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're looking at SaaS is software as a service.
Uh-huh.
And what he's saying there is absolutely correct in that we're starting to look at, let's just say, AI as a service. That's effectively what you're looking at because AI is effectively software if you think about it. But Leo as a service is exactly a great way to sum it up because when you start to look at all these different services and see here's the deal with Canva's creating all these AI generated tools. And I think, and I don't know, I don't use Canva, I never looked at it, but I
I
skimmed an
use it.
article and they said the problem with what Canva's doing is it seems like they're nickel and diming everybody. So you want to use this tool, it'll cost you. You want to use that tool, it'll cost you, blah, 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 blah. And so what we have with the model that is being created, which is off the Amazon Prime model, is that you offer a subscription service and you just keep building more and more into it. So Nifty's absolutely correct. Leo as a service is the exact way to think about it in terms of the development and the tools. And then you just have to figure out your pricing mechanism or your pricing levels. So, again, I would go with free, which gives you whatever. Then you have your Leo Premium, which gives you, what you have in there now and Leo AI to a degree. And then if you get a lot more advanced AI features, well, maybe you have to charge another 5 or 10 HBD on top of the 10 HBD. And you let people decide which level they want. You can go in for free and you can thread and you can, maybe do some simple image generation or whatever. But then you get to the Leo Premium, you get more images and you get more of this, more of that, more of the other thing. And then if you want the super duper, you want to create videos and that type of thing, well, it costs you a little bit more. So you become you actually start using the model that software companies have used. So Nifty really, I like that. Leo AAS, Leo as a service, great idea.
And then Wananda says, wow, it'll be cool if InLeo can transcribe shorts. And then she had a
Well,
question.
that's what mine is doing now. Look at my shorts; they do it. And Cal said the bot's coming, so I don't know what it'll look like. I don't know when it'll be, but he replied to one of my threads. The bot will come. He actually met Mike possibly at High Fest, and I don't know what depths they talked about, but they might possibly even responded to Cal's thread. So
And then she went on to put a question up here as well. Will the platform target a new demographic or remain focused on the existing audience? And she said she thinks it will, but how?
well, if you start with an AI platform, if you become an AI platform, your your whole message changes, your whole mindset changes, your whole existence changes. Now, will some of the people here use it? Yeah. Are you going to overlook social media? No, because as I said, it serves a variety of purposes. First off, it is the on ramp to get more data. You feed more data in, you get more data capabilities, which allows you to create more AI services. You get more AI services, you get the people who are on your platform using those services. And you rinse and repeat because that creates more data. Data is the only flywheel. Cal's talked about the flywheel. I'm convinced data is the only flywheel you need to focus upon. In this day and age, everything is data. Get the data flywheel going, and everything else will work itself out. I mean, obviously, you need a monetization system, and that's what we were just talking about. What Nifty said about Leo as a service and these different things and premium and whatnot. Those are your monetization mechanisms, but you need that flywheel. And the flywheel has to be data. And then the development team takes that, they build the algorithms, they start adding into the training and build different components and incorporate different open source stuff into the offering. Now all of a sudden you have a much bigger thing to offer out to people. So yes, your demographics going to change. Some people here may utilize it, some may not, but you are on a completely different realm. Now you can go onto Twitter and you can stop saying, "Oh well, stop using Twitter where all your friends are and there's 500 million tweets a day, and come over to Leo where there's nothing." And then you could say, "We're democratizing AI, Leo AI platform, Leo as a service, whatever buzzwords you want to use." Now you are doing something different. And the more we feed in, the more that accelerates and starts to grow. And no, we're not going to catch up to Meta. No, we're not going to catch up to Grok with a Q. We're probably not catching up to Grok with or with a K. We're probably not catching up to Grok with a Q or Llama or Claude or any of them. But you know what we can do? Maybe we can beat Venice. Maybe we can beat Qtum. Maybe we can beat these platforms that don't have the social media component, that don't have this built in, that don't have shorts. Can you imagine if we had 3 or 4 thousand shorts being fed in each and every day, and Leo AI was able to read and train multimodal, and so was able to train on the shorts directly? But even without that, if each short has a transcript of the short, and now all that data is going in, because 3,000 shorts, you're getting a variety of different topics each day. How would that look? It'd be huge. This is what I'm saying about the exponential nature. This is what I'm saying about the feedback system. It just keeps growing.
Whoa. And then one more question from Wananda. Do you foresee any challenges in the process of positioning in Leo as an AI and transitioning from a social media platform to an AI focused platform?
Yeah, Cal.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know where he stands. I have not heard him talk about this. I'm the only one who talks about this. Now, he's been away for over a week, and I haven't been talking about this that loud for that long. So I don't know if he's seen what I've been saying. I mean, he sees some of the threads, but he's getting piecemeal, and obviously talking about Leo AI. He's implementing Leo AI, so it's not like Cal says, "Well, we're exclusively a social media platform." It's not that at all. Leo AI is a component, but I don't know if he frames it the way I do. And he may disagree with me. He may say, well, we're always going to be a social media platform, which at that point, then I'll have to say, well, what's the future here? You might not go out of business. You might still be around, but are you going to have a huge amount of success? I don't know. Um, but again, it goes back to what you were saying, Lisa, about positioning. How are you going to position a social media platform? It's a hack platform. Seriously. You have to be candid about what your strengths and weaknesses are. You are not going to take on the big boys, which is Twitter, X, and Google, with what we're doing here. And we know the censorship resistance does not sell. They call me Dan, and Starkers have been trying to sell that out on Twitter for 5 years now, and they get no takers.
Right, they
People
don't care.
give a shit about that. Now, will people give a shit about democratized AI? Will people give a shit about democratized data? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but I think that is more likely because people are well aware, are becoming well aware of these big tech companies getting a lot of power with this data and with AI. So I have a feeling that would be a better selling point than immutable data. Well, don't post on Medium because they can wipe you out. Post on Hive. We can't wipe you out. Well, how many people has Medium wiped out? I mean, for all the people who get wiped out on YouTube, what happens? They come on Hive, they bitch that, oh, YouTube closed my account. Then what happens? YouTube opens the account, they're right back on YouTube. They use ThreeSpeak for 3 minutes. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. So we know what the results are. So I think in that sense, from a positioning standpoint, Leo has to make a conscious decision, and it's not all on Cal. The community has to push this. That's saying we need to be an AI platform, which to say that is bullshit if you're not doing anything. I can say this, and I'm not full of crap. Why? Because I'm putting tens of thousands of tokens, words on Leo every day in support of this. I am taking chats that I have on the chat bot and posting them in the technology blog. I'm doing it. If other people are doing it and then start screaming, we need to focus on being an AI platform and saying we're providing the data, Cal has to listen.
Yeah, they have to listen for that.
Cal has to listen. But when you have people who say, oh, this is great, you've done three threads in a week. What are you talking about? And this comes back to the base problem. Cal spent a lot of time. The developers spent a lot of time. Leo Shorts talked about for a long time, had to revamp a lot of crap on the back end, do a lot of things. We have barely 100 shorts a day. And 3 of us are probably doing 30 to 50 of them. We see this over and over again. And it's going to be the same thing with subscriptions. In fact, it'll probably be worse with subscriptions just because of the way our user base is. And again, I'm not knocking Cal for that. This is a very, very useful feature and can be very, very useful down the road. But I have a feeling it's going to be, and again, like Leo Dex, like Shorts, subscriptions is going to follow suit and be something that is underutilized by the community. Why? Because the people who scream the most, go with the feedback, who have Cal's ear, who scream in Cal's ear, what do they do? What do they do? Even if they have a lot of Leo, what do they do? 3 threads a day? Go look at their account, see how much they do. Where are these people? Who's actually using the platform? So to a guy like Cal, if I was in his shoes, I'd say, screw you, I'm not listening to you. Oh, well, I have this background. I have this. You don't even use the platform. What the hell do you know? Seriously, what do you know?
It makes sense.
No, I cannot speak very intelligently about X as an application. I don't do enough on X. Hell, I said I think you can upload video. I don't even know. I've never uploaded a video or text in my life. I wouldn't even know how to do it. Now, I've read enough and follow enough about XAI and X to know what's going on maybe as a company, but I have no idea about the application. So do you think I could give Leo, can I give Elon any insight as to what he needs to do with that X as an application? Not intelligently. I have no idea. No clue. I don't use it. I don't use Meta can't, or Facebook. Well, any of them. I don't use Meta, Facebook, Instagram. I've never been on Instagram. I couldn't tell Zuckerberg anything about that. But yet these people want to tell Cal, well, guess what you need to do about Leo? How do you know? You don't even use the damn platform.
Well, this was a good talk today.
Is that all the questions and comments?
Well, let's see. We have. Oh, no, we have. Nifty says, task quote of the day: move your ass.
Task order of the day, Nifty. Fill the damn database.
And then went on to Leo AI sees everyone.
And everything.
Might possibly is on here. Hi all, just tuning in. And then he posted explanation of what a token context window is. The token context window is an LLM is basically how much input plus output the LLM can process in a query. One token equals approximately 4 characters. And it goes on. It's a little long to probably read here.
Yeah, and just to he did say that, and him and I had a conversation. Well, we had a couple threads back and forth. He said that I asked Grok with the Q what the context window is. It's like 1,000. I asked Meta what the context window is. It's like 2,050 or something. And Mike possibly said, and I believe this, Claude, the context window is like 250,000 or 200,000. And that might be true because, as I said, I've taken like 20-minute transcripts, YouTube transcripts, and I couldn't do it anything in Meta. But I went to Claude and it just uploaded it and boom, it processed it. Eric Schmidt gave a talk about a month ago. It's called the Band Talk at Sanford. It was like the video disappeared. But what he said is one of the things he said in a year, everything's going to be different. And one of the big things is what he calls the text action, which is this idea that you're going to prompt a chatbot and you're going to have it do all. Basically, he's talking AI agents. But one of the things he said that is amazing is he says you are going to have context windows in the trillions. Now, notice what Mike possibly said, 200,000. In the trillions, what Eric Schmidt said is that's like you're going to be able to upload 20 volumes worth of information, 20 volume books, and enter in the context window and have that run through the AI. So
Wow.
think about if you want to learn about any subject, let's say medicine, or let's say, there's a full medical volume, 20 volumes of cancer research. And you just grab that and upload it into your text window and say, here, what do I need to do? Or whatever your prompts are. It's going to process it. And it will pull all the information out of there. So yeah.
That's crazy.
These are the components. If you understand how this stuff is working, now then you can understand the scaling and the scope. And, there's so many different metrics, but as Mike possibly was saying, context window is important. and he said it's 3 or 4 characters. There's actually different types of tokens. So you have word tokens, you have character tokens, you have space tokens, and then also if you go to OpenAI's tokenizer, it's called tokenizer. So just search OpenAI tokenizer, you'll come up. You can take and you can see the difference in tokens if you take your let's say article and copy and paste it in the tokenizer. You can switch back and forth between uh, ChatGPT 3.5 and 4.0, and it'll tell you the difference. And there's a difference in the tokens because each generation processes tokens differently, and you end up having each generation is more efficient with the data than the previous. So a token actually uh, the words or the characters per token increase over time as the model gets more efficient each new generation. But as I was saying before, you go from 16 trillion for Llama 3.1 to I don't know 160 trillion. Well, you're not getting 10x the efficiency, so that's why they need a hell of a lot more GPUs to train, and they also need a hell of a lot more data.
And then, oh, here's a good prompt for summarizing YouTube videos. Based on the transcript below, write a comprehensive summary in the form of an article. You can copy the transcript from any YouTube video by expanding its description and click Show Full Transcript. Yeah, I've
Yep.
seen that.
Yep, it's very easy to do. You simply show the transcript. You just go to the top, scroll down, and copy it, and then you go into whatever you want to. And what he said is a prompt there. I just do it a little bit simpler, but same thing. And then you just post the transcript, and you hit your submit or you hit your return or whatever the different chatbot has, and it'll spit it out. And you just then copy it. I run it through Leo Linker first, but then I go and I paste it in a thread under the video. I go to the comments and I paste it as a thread, and then I gotta cut part of it out because it obviously comes out to 5,000 characters, and I can only put in 500 or whatever it is. So I have to pull it out, pull it out, pull it out until. But that's why I get 6 or 7 threads underneath or comments because it's a 3 or 4,000 character summary.
And then when on it says we need to feed in Leo more before Leo AI is launched.
Well, not only before, but also as it is launched, because Leo AI is just like Meta because of the social media. See, when you have a Claude, when you have a Grok with a Q, these are trained and they're only trained on the data that's available. Well, when you have a Grok with a K on XAI or on X, you got Meta with Llama. Because of the social media, even Gemini with YouTube, there's new data fed in constantly. So what they're effectively doing is they're able to take and run different algorithms for all the new data and incorporate that in. So they're not training a brand new model per se. So you're not going from Llama 3.1 to Llama 3.15. It's still Llama 3.1, except you can ask it about the score of last night's baseball game because that was posted somewhere on Facebook, and it was able to pull that data, and it's in the database, so it's able to pull that out. Now, when they go to train Llama 4, all that new data with Facebook is obviously going to be fed into the neural net and incorporated. And so when you look at all the vectoring that's done. So now all those scores and all of a sudden the baseball teams and the players and whatever information they have about it, that's all integrated with the stuff that's in there for, again, better context and better understanding. And so what we want to do is we want to keep adding to that to help Leo AI so that information's available. But so then when you go to the next training of Leo AI 2.0, let's just say, more of that's fed into the system. Yeah.
Yeah, might possibly trillions of tokens in the context window will be huge for coding. You'll be able to always have your entire code base at hand.
Well, might possibly. Let me tell you something else Eric Schmidt said. You're not going to need that for coding because he didn't say necessarily in a year, but it's going to be natural language. According to Eric Schmidt, you're going to say he used the example of TikTok, and he said, okay, let's say TikTok gets closed down by the U.S. government. You'll be able to go to these models and say, recreate me TikTok, an application using all the data you have about TikTok, fill it, and make it as successful as TikTok was. And if you don't do that within a week, you know, reinforce yourself and try again. And you just let it go. So, he feels that there's going to be a lot of things going, but certainly the trillion window. I mean, just think about even a billion window, billion context token context window. I mean, just the amount of data that you can feed in there would be huge. Would be huge, and you can imagine if a company. I mean, can you imagine General Motors trying to feed in, I don't know, all its information about a certain part just to try to improve it, or jet, Boeing or something like that, or you take a company with stock information and feeds in years and years of stock information. It's amazing what's going to happen, and we want to be a part of it, and that's where Leo as a platform, I think, is very. I think it's a good framework to operate from. And then I love Nifty's idea, Leo as a service, or Leo AI as a service, built on top of that. As the next layer. I think that's really where we have to start taking the narrative if we can.
Well, thank you everybody for showing up today and asking all your questions and leaving your comments. And thank you, Task, for being here to explain all this to us.
Well, I think it's an important point, and hopefully, people. I know somebody like Mike, possibly him and I have gone back and forth with this. He understands. He's catching on. He's building stuff. He's doing stuff, and I'm immersing myself as much as I can in the trends. And I'm not a very technical person. I don't pretend to be. He's a lot more technical than me, but when it comes to in the future being able just to put in a couple lines and prompt it in natural language, then I'm all in. But we have to understand where things are going and how to take advantage of this. And uh, in exponential races, the problem with tech is it tends to be winner take most, and you're not going to beat these major platforms because that's why they're so powerful. They have the network effects. It's winner take most. But if we can get into the game, especially in the idea of blockchain, especially in the idea of Leo as a platform, we start to get into that and frame ourselves with that. We might be able to jump ahead of the other Web3 crowds. And then over time, I think that can filter out and get into other areas, especially if you start to build especially if we start to see entrepreneurs building businesses such as media entities and things like that on this.
Okay. Well, thank you again, and we will see you guys next week, probably.
Ciao.
Bye bye for now.